Find Cassandra in the chantry. Oh, they all stand ready here.
That's her. That's the Herald of Andraste. They said when she came out of the Fade, Andraste herself was watching over her.
Andraste herself? Sigrid?
I believe Seeker Cassandra would like to speak with you.
Alright. You don't want to talk to me then. Another letter here. Andraste's Mabari. You know Andraste's old Mabari. He don't show up in the chants, and if you ask those holy sisters, well, they say Andraste can't have had some big old smelly war dog, but old Ferelden knows it right. Our sweet lady needed someone who would warm her feet at night. And there's Andraste's Mabari, by the holy prophet's side. In the fight against the winter, the dog would never hide. They say the Maker sent him special, always loyal, without pride, so he could be sworn companion of the Maker's holy bride. Oh, that dog he guards Andraste, without arrogance or fear, only asking of his mistress just a scratch behind the ears. But then old Mafrath gets to plotting, tries to lure that dog away, but even as they trap the prophet, her Mabari never strays. And there's Andraste's Mabari by the holy prophet's side. In the fight against the winter, the dog would never hide. They say the Maker sent him special, always loyal, without pride, so he could be sworn companion of the Maker's holy bride. Oh, they thought the wounds had killed him, but then he limped out toward the fire, and Hesarian, he shed a tear, as that dog laid on the pyre. And there's Andraste's Mabari by the holy prophet's side. In the fight against the winter, the dog would never hide. They say the Maker sent him special, always loyal, without pride, so he could be sworn companion of the Maker's holy bride. Yes, that Mabari is the companion of the Maker's holy bride. A popular, if historically unlikely, Ferelden tavern song. Alright. Oh, I just noticed we have another level up. So let's give me that point. Maybe we should go in here. First Bloods. Yeah, we're always the first one to attack, so it should be very good to do more damage when we attack someone with who's unwounded, because that's always the case when we attack first. Okay.
She stopped the breach from getting any bigger. I heard she was supposed to close it entirely.
Supposed to.
Rifts left all over. Little cracks in the sky.
A lot of rifts.
Seal those though. The Herald of Andraste.
Herald of Andraste.
You won't seal those rifts with the chant of light.
Patient observations, day 3. Less thrashing, some response to stimulus, vitals seem solid. 2 attempts so far by locals to break into the chantry to kill my patient. All this work to save her life, and will they just execute her? Will inform Lady Cassandra I expect her to wake before the morn. Well, it's good that they...
Sealing those rifts.
Thank you. It's good that they did not... kill me. Ah, now I can loot it. I can't actually loot it. Ah, no, now I can loot it. Okay, that was weird.
Good luck sealing those rifts.
Thank you. Ren?
Not taking orders right now. Got a problem with it? Bring it up with Cassandra.
Ah, calm down. I will have to go to Cassandra anyway, so... There was loot here. Deep Stalker hide. I'm going to take a look more around before I go in there.
Why did Lady Cassandra have her in chains? I thought Seekers knew.
Was there something here? Yes, there's a loot chest. Recruit Sturk.
Make her be with you.
Thank you. What do we have here? Oh. The Singing Maiden. Have you ever heard the story of King Bedwyr? Bedwyr, like most kings, was a man of great pride who expected nothing but complete loyalty from his subjects. He believed the best way to achieve this was through fear. After all, those who feared him would never cross him or question his rule. Most importantly, those who feared him would always seek to please him. Bedwyr cultivated terror in his subordinates through the gleeful and unrestrained use of a contraption referred to as the Maiden. The Maiden was a hinged iron casket, as high and wide and deep as a man, with vicious spikes within, meant to pierce through the poor soul locked into it. Bedwy's maiden was a prized possession, and stood in a place of honor in his throne room, often with a screaming victim inside it. Political rivals, suspected assassins, treasonous ministers, the maiden consumed them all. But as time passed, more people were given to the maiden for increasingly trivial offenses. The cook for oversalting the king's food, the page boy for dropping his sword. The maiden cast a pall over the kingdom, and its people prayed for deliverance from the cruel king. Then one day, a strange woman rode into the city. She called herself Ember and was an emissary from a far-off land. Her leaders had heard, she said, of Bedwy's wisdom and authority, and she sought the king's counsel. The thought that he had earned the adulation of brother kings across the sea made Bedwyr swell with pride, and he granted Ember an audience. They dined and danced, and through it all Ember flattered and fawned on the king. At the end of the night, Ember asked to see the maiden, the infamous device that had given Bedwyr all his power. The king, giddy with praise, proudly presented Ember with the empty contraption. Ember looked at the maiden, sighed with disappointment, and said, "That does not look terrifying at all. I should have imagined the spikes to be much sharper." Bedwyr grew red at her comment and replied, "The spikes are sharp enough. Look at the blood that still clings to them." "But it is so small," said Ember. "Are only children and women its victims?" Bedwyr grew redder still and replied, "Of course not. The maiden has devoured many men." Ember shook her head and said to the king, "I do not believe it. Surely no warrior could fear this thing. A man like yourself, tall and muscled, would not fit within." The king laughed and saw a way to prove the merits of the maiden to Ember. "I will show you how easily a man like myself could fit," he said. And with that, he stepped into the device. But Ember was waiting, and no sooner had Bedwyr squeezed himself into the iron casket than Ember slammed it shut on him. Ember took the maiden, with the screaming Bedwyr inside, through the castle and down into the city, and the people, finally free from the king's tyranny, cheered and danced to the singing that echoed through the streets until Bedwyr was dead and it finally stopped. A tale often told the missing and maiden tavern. Alright. A bit macabre, but
Good luck sealing those
I guess it was good for the people. Did I miss anything here?
Good
No.
luck sealing those rings.
Alright. Then let's go on. Can we can't go up
Blessings
there.
upon you, Herald of Andraste.
Herald of Andraste. Here's some more rooms, houses I mean. Taking a look at everything. Oh, another book. The Randy Dowager Quarterly. A well-worn quarterly missive of suspect virtue. The Randy Dowager welcomes the cool of autumn with the fall of another, the collected dreams of desire, being the confessions of an apprentice, and training more furrowing than harrowing. Forbidden dalliances at their most spirited. The Randy Dowager exhibitions for the noble of thought, but spry or of step. The lady herself says, "Enchanting. One supports the circles, if only because closed doors offer the imagination more." 3 scarves fluttered in shock out of 5. RD. Okay. I'm not quite sure what that means, but okay. Another loot thing here. And this house. But there's nothing in here. Okay, then the last house. Adam?
I believe Lady Cassandra wanted to speak with you.
Alright, no worries. And another brief. Patient observations, day 2. Pulse normal, breathing normal, still unresponsive, careful drop feed or prep. Alfred extractor haste in her recovery, a lot of thrashing, mutters about too many eyes, something about the grey, encouraging? And loots. Sturdy defender codes, schematic and cooldown amulet. A cooldown amulet. What kind of an amulet is that? Cooldown for all abilities is shorter by the specified amount. Okay, well, I think I'll go for that. So far we didn't have a problem of dying yet, so I think we should be fine. I'm a schematic sturdy defender code, alright. That's that. Do we have something left here? I just don't want to miss anything. Yeah, there is something to loot. More elf fruit. Alright, that's it. Now we can go into the chantry.
Chancellor Roderick says that the Chantry wants nothing to do with us.
Chantry, I meant the church, kind of. Oh, what's going on? Oh no, the game froze. Okay. Damn it. I thought I was good, but somehow the game just froze right here. Let me get back to you.
Of the Grand Clerics died at the conclave. Who will lead us now?
Andraste didn't have Grand Clerics telling her what to do, and she managed nonetheless.
You expect us to be like Andraste?
Someone must.
Okay, so I figured out what the issue was. I had some mods installed through the Frosty Mod Manager, as well as the AI mods, and they tend to not work well together. I had issues in the past where I couldn't use Frosty mods in the DLCs. Now I think it was because of a mod that changed the appearance of one of the characters inside of the church. So I deactivated it. It didn't work, so I deactivated all of the mods that I had installed for Frosty Mod Manager and now started without Frosty Mod Manager, and now it works. So we'll have to work with only the AI mods. I mean,
Go in peace, Herald of Andraste.
those mods that I installed through the Frosty Mod Manager, it was only 3 mods, and 2 of them were about the appearance of that one character. And one was the 60 FPS mod, but I have other means of getting 60 FPS in the cutscenes, because the default is locked to 30 FPS. But yeah, I got another option. The Fade. The study of the Fate is as old as humankind. For so long as men have dreamed, we have walked its twisting paths, sometimes catching a glimpse of the city at its heart, always as close as our own thoughts, but impossibly separated from our world. The Tevinter Imperium once spent vast fortunes of gold, lyrium, and human slaves in an effort to map the terrain of the Fate, an ultimately futile endeavor. Although portions of it belong to powerful spirits, all of the Fate is in constant flux. The Imperium succeeded in finding the disparate and ever-shifting realms of a dozen demon lords, as well as cataloging a few hundred types of spirits before they were forced to abandon the project. The relationship of dreamers to the Fate is complex. Even when entering the Fate through the use of lyrium, mortals are not able to control or affect it. The spirits who dwell there, however, can, and as the Chantry teaches us, the great flaw of the spirits is that they have neither imagination nor ambition. They create what they see through their sleeping visitors, building elaborate copies of our cities, people, and events which, like the reflections in a mirror, ultimately lack context or life of their own. Even the most powerful demons merely plagiarize the worst thoughts and fears of mortals and build their realms with no other ambition than to taste life. From Tranquility and the Role of the Fate in Human Culture by First Enchanter Josephus. Okay. There's more here to be looted. Tonic belt, extra tonic, and armor rating front, reinforced shield. Sorry, but I have to read through this first. A chant for the departed. The light shall lead her safely through the paths of this world and into the next. For she who trusts in the Maker fires her water, as the moth sees light and goes toward the flame. She should see fire and go towards light. The veil holds no uncertainty for her, and she will know no fear of death. For the Maker shall be her beacon and her shield, her foundation and her sword. Transfigurations 10:1, often sung by mourners as they light candles.
To Val Royal immediately, to be tried by whomever becomes divine.
I do not believe she is guilty.
The prisoner failed, Seeker. The breach is still in the sky. For all you know, she intended it this way.
I do not believe that.
That is not for you to decide. Your duty is to serve the Chantry.
My duty is to serve the principles on which the Chantry was founded, Chancellor, as is yours.
Alright. I could go there, but I want to check out this room first. To then research.
We can use that.
Oh, I don't even know what I put there.
I believe Seeker Pentagast was looking for you.
Alright. Read. The children of Andraste. There are many misconceptions regarding Andraste's bloodline, Monsieur. This is due, I should think, to a general lack of knowledge regarding Andraste's mortal life, understandable considering the many cults that arose following her death. Everyone sought to claim Our Lady for their own culture or claimed some aspect of her existence was a lie, all of them complete fabrications. My order has done considerable research to ascertain the truth. We all know Andraste and the Betrayer raised 5 children. The eldest 3 were sons, Isarath, Evrian, and Verald. The rule of what was once southern Tevinter was split among them. Isarath was given the west, what is today Olay. Evrian was given the east, what is today the Free Marches. Verald was given the central Plana Sen, what is today Navarra. What became of these men are their legacies, and the legacies is that stuff of legend, and the majority of claimants to Andraste's bloodline link back to one of them. None of the 3 sons, however, were born of Andraste. They were born of the Betrayer's concubine Gillivan. People chose to overlook the fact that Andraste came from the Alamari tribesmen, and that they were barbarians, not the Ferelden's we know today. They were savage warriors who took concubines in addition to their wives, and because Andraste was thought to be too weak to bear children, the Betrayer took Gillivan to provide him her heirs, which she did. After her death, the sons were raised as Andraste's own. Later in life, Andraste proved predictions wrong and had 2 daughters by the Betrayer, Abris and Vivial. They were kept out of the public eye and not permitted to marry, though both had consorts. Abris had but 1 child, Ali Vimar, who perished on the voyage to Denerim, less than a month after her mother fell to plague and without children of her own. The younger daughter, Vivial, was more controversial, a strong-headed woman who defied her family by falling in love with the mage of Tevinter, Regulan. Vivial and Regulan went into self-imposed exile as the Exalted March began, and into hiding following Andraste's betrayal and murder. What became of Vivial and her descendants is largely unknown for one primary reason. She had only daughters. Each of those daughters only had daughters. They married into other families and took other names, and in the chaos of the Second Blight, all traces of survivors were lost. Andraste's true bloodline, if it exists, lies solely in the descendants of Vivial, and the suspicion of my order is that it produces only daughters. Thus the claims of your young man, Monsieur, are highly suspect. From a letter by Sister Galena of the Augustan Order, Dragon 912. Okay, only the research one. Okay. Was there another door? Yes, there was another door. Let me see that. Oh, it goes below. What do we have here? Founding of the Chantry, Cordillus Dragon, king of the city-state of Olay, was a man of uncommon ambition. In the year 15 Ancient, the young king began construction of a great temple dedicated to the Maker and declared that by its completion he would not only have united the warring city-states of the south, he would have brought Andrastian belief to the world. In Ancient, the temple was completed. There in its heart, Dragon knelt before the eternal... Should it be kneeled before the eternal flame of Andraste and was crowned ruler of the Empire of Olay. His first act as emperor to declare the Chantry as the established Andrastian religion of the Empire. It took 3 years and several hundred votes before Alessa of Montsemart was elected to lead the new Chantry. Upon her coronation as divine, she took the name Justinia, in honor of the disciple who recorded Andraste's song. In that moment, the ancient era ended and the divine age began. From Ferelden folklore and history by his sister Petrine, Chantry scholar. We get a lot of background information here. What do we have here? A new bow, but not as good as my current one. Aggressive bow. You know, actually, I would prefer to go with armor and things that are not from the this deluxe edition of the game, because I don't want to feel too overpowered in the beginning. What does this one do? Extra tonics. For tonics by the specified amount. We don't have tonics yet, so it won't make sense to wear it. Okay, what else do we have here? Another one. Chantry hierarchy. The divine is the titular head of the chantry, although since the schism split the imperial chantry into its own faction, there are now in fact two divines at any one time. One divine, informally called the White Divine, is a woman housed in the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux. The other, known as the Black Divine, is a man housed in the Argentspire in Minrathous. Neither divine recognizes the existence of the other, and the informal names are considered sacrilegious. No matter the gender, a divine is addressed as Most Holy or Your Perfection. Beneath the rank of divine is the Grand Cleric. Each Grand Cleric presides over numerous chantries and represents the highest religious authority for their region. They travel to Val Royeaux when the College of Clerics convenes, but otherwise remain where they are assigned. All Grand Clerics are addressed as Your Grace. Beneath the Grand Cleric is the Mother, or in the Imperial Chantry, the Father. If a Mother is in charge of a particular chantry, revered is appended to her title. These are the priests responsible for administering to the spiritual well-being of their flock. A Mother or revered Mother is addressed as Your Reverence. Brothers and sisters from the rank and file of the chantry and consist of three main groups: affirmed, initiates, and clerics. Affirmed are the lay brethren of the chantry, those regular folk who have turned to the chantry for succor. Succor, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Often they are people who have led a difficult or irreligious life and have chosen to go into seclusion, or even orphans and similar unfortunates who were raised into chantry life. The affirmed take care of the chantry and are in turn afforded a life of quiet contemplation, no questions asked. Only those folk who take vows become initiates. These are men and women in training, whether in academic knowledge or the martial skills of a warrior. All initiates receive an academic education, although only those who seek to become Templars learn how to fight in addition. Clerics are the true academics of the chantry, those men and women who have dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge. They are often found in chantry archives, sages presiding over libraries or books and arcane knowledge. The most senior of these clerics, placed in charge of such archives, are given the title Elder, although such a rank is still beneath that of Mother. All other brothers and sisters are addressed simply by noting their title before their name, such as Brother Genitivi. From a guide for ambassadors from Ravane. From Ravane, alright. What do we have still here? It's getting very dark here. Can I open this already? Yes. Since we are rogue, we can open simple locks. More to read, holy hell. Black City. No travel to the Fade can fail to spot the Black City. It is one of the few constants of that ever-changing place. No matter where one might be, the city is visible. Always far off, for it seems that the only rule of geography in the Fade is that all points are equidistant from the Black City. The chant teaches that the Black City was once the seat of the Maker, from whence he ruled the Fade, left empty when men turned away from him. Dreamers do not go there, nor do spirits. Even the most powerful demons seem to avoid the place. It was golden and beautiful once, so the story goes, until a group of powerful magistoloids from the Tevinter Imperium devised a means of breaking in. When they did so, their presence defiled the city, turning it black, which was perhaps the least of their worries. From Beyond the Veil, Spirits and Demons by Enchanter Mudromel. And this one, Andraste, Bride of the Maker. Well, at least we get XP for reading these. There was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Tevinter Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathous, leaving behind only the old and the infirm. One of the captives was the child Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped, then made the long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people who remained slaves in Tevinter. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. He showed her all the works of his hands, the fate, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and how he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him and so captivated him that he offered her a place at his side that she might rule all of creation. But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return, to save his children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband, Matharath, and told him all that the Maker had revealed to her. Together, they rallied the Alamari and marched forth against the Mage Lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. The Maker's sword was creation itself. Fire and flood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew until they were at vast tide washing over the Imperium, and when Matharath saw that the people loved Andraste and not him, and a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. At last the armies of Andraste and Matharath stood before the very gates of Manrathus, but Andraste was not with them, for Matharath had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Winter. For this, the Archon would give Matharath all the lands to the south of the Waking Sea. And so, before all the armies of the Alamari and of the Winter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. But as he watched the pyre, the Archon softened. He took pity on Andraste and drew his sword and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Matharath, cursed mankind for the betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him. And Our Lady sits still at his side, where she still urges him to take pity on his children. From the Sermons of Justinia II. Alright. No, another one. The Disciples of Andraste. The Disciples of Andraste are unique in all of history. The cult preceded the Chantry and kept itself so hidden and isolated that it actually survived the modern day. The Disciples made their home high in the Frostback Mountains in a village called Haven, which is now a sanctuary for pilgrims of the Chantry. It is understood that the Disciples were descendants of the first followers of Andraste, who brought her ashes to Ferelden and built the temple to house it. Because they had pledged themselves to the keeping of the Temple of Sacred Ashes, the Disciples of Andraste never left the Frostbacks. For 900 years they kept strangers away, killing all who came close, and were completely oblivious to the worlds that advanced beyond the boundaries of their home. Having developed separately from the traditions of the Andrastian Chantry, the Disciples were led by revered fathers. However, little else is known about the original beliefs of the Disciples, for they had turned from the noble heritage by the time they were discovered. Almost all scholars believe that the centuries-long isolation imposed upon the village led to the necessity for inbreeding. This practice likely led to a created incidence of madness, which may explain why the cult was, at the time of its discovering in 930, worshipping a high dragon. Oh yeah, I remember, in Dragon Age Origins they were worshipping a dragon and we had to kill it, although I did not do it because I wasn't strong enough. According to writings discovered in Haven, the Disciples of Andraste showed reverence to the dragon, believing it to be the prophet reborn. The egg clutches and dragonlings of the dragon were afforded great honor for being Andraste's offerings, and were cared for by the cult. The dragon never attacked the cult, being cunning enough to recognize how this arrangement benefited. In 930 Dragon, the Disciples were wiped out by the hero Ferelden, yes, who was on a quest to retrieve the sacred ashes of Andraste, from before Andrastianism, the Forgotten Faiths, by Sister Rontwin of Tentervale. Alright, I'm sorry for this being like a episode of 90% reading, but I really want to get all of these experience points and to take everything we can with us, all the codex. And I'm not going to read all the codex entries, but if we find some notes to read, I want to read through them to get some extra background information that enhances the story a bit, I think. Medium adventure armor, amulet of cunning. Let's see what we have here. Balanced dagger, okay, we're not using a dagger. Armor, medium adventure armor. It is better than our current one, so maybe let's go with that. Even though it doesn't look as good, but I'll take it because it is one of the +2 cunning. I'll take it. one of the yeah, like I said, Deluxe Edition, Game of the Year Edition armors. So it won't be too overpowered for me. Another note. Misplaced notes. Notes written by one of the scholars responsible for restoring Haven. The notes have obviously come loose from a ledger of some sort. It took weeks scrubbing bloodstains from the stone. One of two things is true. Either stone is more porous than I thought, or Maker's beard, there must have been a lot of blood. How many people died? I'm so relieved I didn't have to deal with the altars of sacrifice the first arrivals found. Those were tossed off a cliff, I think. So now we just have to deal with the stains on the walls and floors. If this doesn't clean up in a day or two, I'm asking for some fresh plaster. Maybe we can cover them up. Still, it's not all bad. Haven is a beautiful place, and while working in the dungeons, we found scraps of paper with writing that looks like Brother Ferdinand's genitives. He was held here for weeks before the hero from Relden found him. Yeah, I remember Brother Genitivi. We helped him, and then he went to the temple of Sacred Ashes with us, and yeah, I think we left him there for exploring. Okay, I think we're done here. Yeah, we're already over 30 minutes, but since you've been all through with me to all of those letters and notes, I want to get the cutscene as well before we end this episode, just because I think it would be not interesting enough if I don't have anything like a cutscene in here.
Chain her! I want her prepared for travel to the capital for trial.
Disregard that and leave us.
You walk a dangerous line, Seeker.
The breach is stable, but it is still a threat. I will not ignore it.
So I'm still a suspect, even after what we just did.
You absolutely are.
No, she is not.
Someone was behind the explosion at the Conclave. Someone Most Holy did not expect. Perhaps they died with the others, or have allies who yet live.
I am a suspect?
You, and many others.
But not the prisoner.
I heard the voices in the temple. The Divine called to her for help.
So her survival, that thing on her hand, all a coincidence?
Providence. The Maker sent her to us in our darkest hour.
I mean, I consider my character to believe in the Maker, but I wouldn't say that she believes she is the Herald of Andraste.
So, you've changed your mind about me.
I was wrong. Perhaps I still am. I will not, however, pretend you were not exactly what we needed when we needed it.
The breach remains, and your mark is still our only hope of closing it.
This is not for you to decide.
You know what this is, Chancellor. A writ from the Divine, granting us the authority to act. As of this moment, I declare the Inquisition reborn. We will close the breach, we will find those responsible, and we will restore order with or without your approval.
This is the Divine's directive. Rebuild the Inquisition of old. Find those who will stand against the chaos. We aren't ready. We have no leader, no numbers. And now, no Chantry support.
But we have no choice. We must act now, with you at our side.
What is the Inquisition of old, exactly?
It preceded the Chantry. People who banded together to restore order in a world gone mad.
After, they laid down their banner and formed the Templar Order, but the Templars have lost their way. We need those who can do what must be done, united under a single banner once more.
But aren't you still part of the Chantry?
Is that what you see?
The Chantry will take time to find a new Divine. And then it will wait for her direction.
But we cannot wait. So many Grand Clerics died at the Conclave. No, we are on our own. Perhaps forever.
You're trying to start a holy war.
We are already at war. You are already involved. Its mark is upon you. As to whether the war is holy, that depends on what we discover.
What if I refuse?
You can go if you wish.
You should know that while some believe you chosen, many still think you guilty. The Inquisition can only protect you if you are with us.
We can also help you.
It will not be easy if you stay. But you cannot pretend this has not changed you.
All right then.
If you're truly trying to restore order,
That is the plan.
Help us fix this before it's too late.
Okay.